At all.
Did you know that she does this?
I never date men who have kids. My son comes first, and if a man has a child, his son or daughter will come first.
Because you want to be number one. You know how many good guys you can be crossing off the list that you should have?
But what do you have to say about that?
Next, all new Tyra.
When Abby's father first died, she dealt with the loss by kissing his photo a few times a day. A few times a day turned into a few hundred times a day until his face actually started to flake off in the photo. Abby's obsessive-compulsive disorder got so bad that she started cutting herself, cutting her skin herself with nail clippers, and she would pound herself in the head with her fists as many as 250 times in a row. Helen just talked to us about her OCD, and it got very compulsive after her father died. Also, you had the connection because of your father. And what did you start doing? But I know it started with praying first.
Yeah, it was kissing and praying a lot.
Kissing and praying.
I was really praying for forgiveness. I was at this point where I was 11, so I had this feeling that there was a cause and effect, and my dad just inexplicably died. I mean, he had cancer, but it was very quick. And so I came up with in my head that I was responsible for him dying.
Okay.
So I was praying for forgiveness.
And so it started with some Hebrew prayers in the morning and night, and then how often were you praying as it grew?
By the time I got to college, it was about 3-4 hours a day. And
3 to 4 hours a day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if people knocked on the door to see where I was or anything, I had to start over. I had to start praying if I saw an ambulance go by on the street that everything would turn out okay, and then it turned into anything that had a siren, and then...
So you were praying to make sure that it, to make things okay, so that that person would be safe, or
so
that
nobody
fire
else
would be
die.
Because you felt like it was your fault that your father died, and so you can control other people getting hurt.
Exactly.
Okay, and then it got it got worse with objects. Tell me about the objects that you started to collect.
Yeah, I started picking up anything that I thought was sharp on the ground because I had this whole sequence of events in my mind that if if a tire went over a nail, then that person's tire would explode and that would lead to more deaths. And then it was safety pins, paper clips, gum wrappers, anything. So I was picking up litter constantly.
I heard even fruit.
Fruit, yes. I had a theory that banana peels could get caught in tailpipes. I'd seen it once on a silly movie or something.
And then the beating started to yourself. Tell me about that.
And that was more punishment for what I felt I had caused. Because I had significant other deaths. My mother remarried, and my stepfather died very soon after they married. And I had never been nice to him, so then it proved to myself that I had caused him dying. So all of my rituals became about punishing myself or stopping someone else from dying.
Did you have any signs of OCD before your father's death?
Yeah, well, similar to Helen, when I was little, I had little quirks that I would shred napkins under the table, or I would count my steps. I washed my hands a lot, you know, till they were raw. And but it was more like, oh, look at Abby doing that funny thing. It wasn't like something that
people didn't realize that there was like a real serious issue. And I know you wrote a book about it. Tell me about the book. What's the book called?
It's called Amen, 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 Memoir of a Girl Who Couldn't Stop Praying.
Wow.
And it comes out this October. It really recounts, for me, I think many people find OCD to be debilitating or really a struggle, and in many ways it became a survival skill for
Comfort,
me.
survival, yeah. When you hear Abby's story, Helen, do you hear similarities?
Oh yes, much definitely.
How are you doing now, Abby?
I'm doing great. I have an 11-month-old daughter, and that really helps. I look at her and I see that, you know, it starts so young, and maybe it's
Is it genetically passed down?
You know,
Not
I think
sure
it's
yet?
still up for grabs.
Right. Not sure. Well, thanks, ladies.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll be right back. Hey, Hey, y'all, if you're in New York City and want to check